Macmillan Audio presents Trippy, the Peril and Promise of Medicinal Psychedelics. Written and read for you by Ernesto Londoño.
Disclaimer. The information in this book is not intended to replace the advice of the listener's own physician or other medical professional. You should consult a medical professional in matters relating to health, especially if you have existing medical conditions and before starting, stopping, or changing the dose of any medication you are taking. Individual listeners are solely responsible for their own healthcare decisions. The author and the publisher do not accept responsibility for any adverse effects individuals may claim to experience, whether directly or indirectly, from the information contained in this book. The fact that an organization or website is mentioned in the book as a potential source of information does not mean that the author or the publisher endorses any of the information they may provide or recommendations they may make.
A note to listeners. This audiobook includes recordings from some of the ceremonies I participated in, as well as music and sounds that evoke my experiences. I want to express my gratitude to the Santo Daime communities in Brazil and Oregon that supported my research for this book, as well as the members of the Yawanawa community who taught me through their music and stories. Dedication. To the memory of my late grandparents, Hernando Martinez and Natalia Jaramillo, whose grit and melancholy live within me. Preface. Robert Fitzgerald walked into a spacious house in a quiet Austin neighborhood for a 3-day blitz of psychedelic therapy, knowing very little about what lay ahead. The Army veteran, a politically conservative father of 3, had no clue that the treatment center, All Tribes Medicine Assembly, was technically a church. He had heard next to nothing about Whitney Lassiter, a self-professed sorceress of light, who had created the church a few months earlier to support some claim to legal protection for her psychedelic treatment practice. Robert did not know that Whitney was a former drug addict and stripper who spent much of her adult life cycling in and out of rehab, until stumbling across a drug she credits with saving her life and instilling a sense of purpose. The weary and beleaguered people who sign up for her 3-day retreats are subjected to a jolting protocol that includes an Amazonian ritual that leaves burn marks on the skin, a dose of psychedelic mushrooms so large it is dubbed heroic, and smoking a toad venom that obliterates a person's consciousness within seconds. Robert had given no thought to whether any of what he was about to do was legal. What the 35-year-old knew for sure on that day in late October 2022 was that a long spiral of depression had left him suicidal, in urgent need of help, and that the mainstream mental healthcare system had failed him. Antidepressants made him feel like a zombie. Therapists he saw at the Department of Veterans Affairs struck Robert as unhelpful and rote, as though they were all reading from the same script. His most recent taste of conventional medicine, a haunting, humiliating 2-day stay in the psychiatric ward, sapped what remained of his faith in the healthcare system. 2 weeks after a suicide attempt, Robert put himself in Whitney's care as a Hail Mary of sorts. A little over a year before, working alongside veteran friends, he had become deeply invested in helping Afghans flee their country amid the chaotic American withdrawal that left the Taliban in control of Kabul. As a monumentally frustrating and all-encompassing effort came to an end, Robert began noticing vague, intrusive thoughts about death. They seemed to convey that he wouldn't be around much longer.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?